Everyone, this is Conrad Layn here. So I'm here at the park. This is Echo Park. This is actually a secret cul-de-sac area that's near the park. You get to see overlook the whole park from here. And you only notice if you probably grew up here, and some people even in LA don't even know this area. But it's actually a little secret area. I'll give you a little tour of it. So let me flip this around so I give you guys a tour. So that's the park. See that over there? The boats. My dad and I, we used to go to the Echo Park boats back in the day. They actually remodeled the place, so it looks a little different now. And like I said, I literally live very close. Let's put it that way. But the thing is that in LA, there's little pockets. It's like very, very poverty-stricken areas. Then there's very, very wealthy areas. Then there's middle-class areas, all mixed in the same area, like blocks from apart. Like one block will be super wealthy and affluent, and one area will be like poverty-stricken. So it's really sad and it breaks your heart. Just so much going on here in LA. It's a huge city, and a lot of areas right by each other are completely different net worth, tax brackets, like different financial amounts people make. Some people are very wealthy. Some people that are living right next door or next block over from someone who's suffering and maybe can't even afford food. So it's a lot that we're going through here. So I mean, it's just a real life view. There's the area right here. So I'm gonna walk over here. This is actually a secret path. And like I said, you only know this if you're actually from Los Angeles and if you know Echo Park area very well. So this is actually a treat for everyone. So this is actually a little path. Around to me, and you can see actually a whole view of the park. So it is a secret area. Put my mask on. So I'll do this with one hand, so my apologies, people. So that's that. I'll just a view from behind, and that's pretty much it. So you see the back of it. That's the right there. The lake. That's the tents at what some people call the village or the encampment, whatever you choose to use. There's police officers. A lot going on. Officers. Yeah, see, this is the whole path. Hello, hi. And this is Echo Park. A lot of history here. Over 100 years of history, actually. And it's one of the few areas that you can actually review only if you really are from Los Angeles, and really Echo Park per se. A lot of people miss this area right here. Hello, I'm just recording a video about the experience of Echo Park.
Picked an interesting day to do it.
Oh, it's a very interesting day, but it's a day that'll be recorded in history for sure. You know, just.
I wanted to ask them a question, but they're too far away.
I talked to a few of the officers on the other side. So I've been here quite some time, and just one what's going on is what I'm not an officer at all, but what they told me, they said that they're just trying to clear the park out.
Yeah.
And I'm really sensitive to even the fact that I know some people say encampment, some people say village. I'm just trying to share different perspectives. So I've been asking people what their perspective is of it. You know what I mean? So I asked a few officers. And
did you talk to people down there this morning?
Yeah, just this morning,
okay.
and actually on the other side of the park as well.
I was actually just trying to find out how long they're going to close all the streets off. I don't know. Did you ask them?
I did. What they said was the first officer told me he was not sure, and the second officer said that, you know what, it looks a lot better now. They didn't want me to hold them to the word. I'm just paraphrasing, and they said that it should be done by the end of the day.
By the end of the day.
But they're not sure. But they said it's a lot better than what they anticipated. Because last night was complete anarchy.
Right. I saw it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the thing. So I mean.
Actually, you know, I was worried that there'd be a lot of violence, and I think they actually did a decent job of. It was.
Yes.
I think one person got hurt, is what I heard. Or one person got arrested, or someone broke an arm, and that may be rumor. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I hope no one was injured, but if so, I really wish them the best. But yeah, it's just a lot going on, and
it's complicated.
It is, because there's so many different beliefs and perspectives. That's why right now I'm just really curious about different people's perspectives. You know, just even for example, like people that are homeowners and condo owners here, like they have a different perspective, and to them, like they want to know about their property value, and at the same time, some people say, well, hey, like what about like the people, where are they going to go?
Right.
It's very conflicting in nature. So I mean, just yeah.
I know. I was about to yell down at them, but I don't know if I want to.
Hey,
just want to be like, how long is this going to be like this? Can I get out? Like street sweeping in an hour. I usually have to drive around aimlessly for 2 hours.
Yes, and
there's, so I don't get a ticket. But I'm like, I don't know how to get out of the neighborhood. I guess I'll try Alvarado.
One thing I would recommend, and just to let you know about, my name's Conrad. I go to Conrad Layn.
Wait, sorry, you go.
Well, my name's Conrad.
I'll put my mask on.
Oh,
good.
No, it's all good.
I'm like, it's outside. I'm like, yeah,
No, my name's Conrad, so I go by Conrad Layn.
Okay.
And pretty much I just help people with starting like their business and like investing and stuff like the other, like owning assets. And there's like an app called Turo. I'm not sure if you heard of it.
Yeah.
It's an app where you can actually book your car online or rent it out to people. So I'm showing people how to make like money with renting cars. And LA, just like what you said, so hard to find parking.
Right.
It's like so permanent.
More than
it's
other
ludicrous.
Places? More than other places? Oh yeah.
Because if you go to the valley, it's free parking. There's no permits.
Well, that's right.
Here LA, it's like permit, 30 minutes, 3 hours.
Yep.
Move your car on this day, or you'll get a ticket.
Yeah, it's like
So what I was going to say, I was speaking with parking enforcers. I've been making friends with them as well, and what they said is, in these type of times, what you want to do is take a picture, so you get a cop's card, put it on your dashboard, or park in like a yellow zone that's not supposed to, for anarchy, or say after 6 p.m. or something of public unrest. Usually they don't give you tickets, and you want to leave a note, take a picture, and send it to them. Those are the things. You still might get a ticket, but at least they'll get you off the hook. If you can, try to speak with them, get their police card. They're always supposed to keep business cards on them. Put it on your dashboard. You put a note there, so when they take a picture of it, either they'll say, hey, any logical thinking person will say, that's reasonable. I'm not gonna give them a ticket. They're supposed to take pictures of it. If they do give you a ticket, they are rushing or whatever, you have proof. Police cards there, their badge numbers there. I'll really do that. That's what I would do for you. Just a little idea.
These guys are doing. So these are the park rangers.
Yes. So those guys in the green, they pretty much what their job is to do is they actually go in there and make rounds of collecting like anything from paraphernalia to shoes to clothes, food, and they clean up the park and they get people out pretty much. And officer just here for reinforcement and backup pretty much. So. Yeah, interesting part. You used to come here, to go to the boats and everything. Just really, how long have you lived? How long have you been in this area as well?
I lived here since 2003.
2003, nice. I've lived in the area probably since 1999.
Okay. Oh, I moved to Echo Park in '98, but I lived right down the street.
Oh, did you remember the boats when they weren't flamingos then?
Oh my God, they were so much harder to spell.
Yes, they were.
Still hard, but they were so hard.
They were.
You'd be like, and you did not move at all. They were so awful.
It was quite the workout.
It was quite the workout.
It was like all this resistance. And I was like, what's going on?
Like, I don't think this is translating to forward momentum in any way. I've lived here for 20s, whatever, about the same time too, so yeah.
So you've seen a lot of changes for sure. Like when this was drained actually, and it was like drained for like 3 years.
You know how Facebook has those memories pop up?
Yes.
It just popped up 3 days ago. The picture of the lake and they drained it.
I remember that.
I live like 3 houses down. This is my backyard in theory, but
Yes.
yeah, I stopped going to the lake around July.
I understand. And
Even not, it was the homeless encampment, but it was also so many people like gathering and drinking and everything. And I was like, you know what? Like in the middle of the pandemic, I was like, when it first locked down, I was like, oh, I'll go to the lake every day. And I was like, nope.
And I agree with that. I used to run actually 2 a.m. in the morning and like nothing. It was
even before they fixed up the lake, I would go at night.
Same here.
Probably not the best idea, but I would, as a woman alone, but I would walk around at night. I don't know.
No judgment here.
No, just looking back, but you know, I was younger and I was like,
But at least you're not going now, so
I'm definitely not going now.
But I understand. I used to run
Take
around.
my daughter.
Oh yeah, no, like.
And some people are like, why don't you feel safe? And it's like, and they judge you for that. It's like, you know what? Some people do, some people don't. But it's just, it's a difficult situation.
Hey.
Everybody's hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you guys know what's happening right now?
So what I don't know everything, but what I talked to a few of the officers, what's going on essentially is that they're actually the cops are here just to reinforce if they need any backup. The gentlemen, the park rangers in the green are the ones that actually go into parks. They have some other people that are wearing like vests that are cleaning up the park and just helping people get out of the park and clean up like their tents, the encampment or village, whatever word you use for it. That's pretty much what's going on. They don't know exactly when it's going to end, but like her and I were just discussing, it's been fairly peaceful for the most part. So like they're anticipating it should be done by the end of the day, but they're not sure. They specifically told me they don't really know, but they're more than nice to answer my questions. And they said it should be ended by the end of the day. That's everything's blocked in. For people that live here, you're blocked in pretty much. You're pretty much held hostage. So
that's why I'm trying to find out.
So they really lied to them because they told them they were going to give 24 hours.
I don't even see. That's a whole other perspective. That's so interesting. You found new information. I don't know what's true, what's not true.
This is new information last night. They told them, okay, we're going to leave and we'll give you 24 hours.
Yeah.
That was at
not
12.
And when they said leave, did they say they're gonna leave like the park, or like leave like give them 24 hours to get out, or were they saying like they'll come back?
I think they said 24. I mean,
I didn't know that.
They still may be doing that. They said they're gonna give everyone 24 hours to get out, but they're sending caseworkers in all day today to help get the last people. They've moved. I don't know how many people are left.
Okay.
Do you know? I know when it first started, there was a hardcore group of about 30, and that they were the people that refused to move in the first place, despite some offers. And then as with the pandemic, it definitely spread up to like about 200, but at the peak. But I heard they got about 120 housing in the last week or two, and then I think they made a huge push in the last day or two.
I recall that.
I don't know how many people are left, and I don't know what they're gonna do with the people that are not.
I know they also were investing. The city invested in some. I was reading in the news in regards to there's mini homes, I believe, they're being built.
Yeah.
As well. Huh.
I came down here 2 hours ago, and this wasn't up. So
they weren't even gonna let us in. We were just stairs.
They weren't gonna let you in where?
Over there.
Oh.
We came by the stairs because there was no ground.
Yeah, I'm just curious how much is shut down.
Well, I mean, they're also doing this because they knew people showed up yesterday to support the people who were there. So it's a tactical thing. So not necessarily just practicality of trying to whatever they're trying to accomplish, but it's a tactical thing to get people to not support them because they did yesterday. A lot of people did. So it's unfortunate. A lot of the people that were displaced have memories here. Yeah. They're gonna come out and support because they were displaced to begin with.
So that's why there's so many different perspectives. Like I've actually just been asking different people, and that's why I'm really like understanding different perspectives, and that's why like I talked to the cops. I heard their perspective. I've heard you find Lay's perspective. It's so interesting. You learn a lot just in one day. But we all could agree there's a lot of people hurt. It was a terrible year yesterday just in regards to humans. Just pretty much the whole COVID-19 and just even how we're talking now. I mean, we're wearing masks. It's an interesting time. If we would have thought 2 years ago we'll never thought this was this is ridiculous, you know. But
Yeah.
you never know what might happen.
Well, I mean, people who are getting displaced was already happening before. I mean, like she said, this area was primarily working class, like Latinx area before in the 90s, and it got severely.
80s and 90s.
It got
In the 50s, it was different. It's always been changing throughout time.
Yes,
There's a lot of Japanese.
that's true.
In World War II, I think a lot of them got
Yeah.
moved to camps. I mean, it's been
But
fluctuating
it's got
over the
extremely
long history.
gentrified to the point where people could barely even afford to live here. So yes, it does change. People
Mhm.
living here does change, but affordability really does cast out a lot of people. And so so people coming here because they have nowhere else to go. Because what happened at Echo Park is happening in all the places in LA.
And
It
all
happened
in
with the
major
country.
cities.
In
All
major
major
cities.
That's
cities
true.
like this is happening. The income inequality is making the affordability in
And
all
then-
cities really, really bad right now. They have to do something on a national level. They can't. You can't actually address it on a local level, really, because the root causes are so big. You can do some. I'm not saying that, but
You're right about that.
honestly,
And all of it ends up being historical. Redlining is historical.
That's true.
Right? It's not, nothing has changed. Maybe in any case, the only thing that makes it sound new is because they changed terminologies, right? We weren't using gentrification before. Didn't mean it didn't happen. So a lot of it is historical. You know, as indigenous, like this is Tongva land to begin with. We're not on indigenous land, right? So this is very extraordinarily historical to colonization even.
If you don't mind me asking, and that's one thing, and just my name's Conrad, I go by Conrad Layn. I'm actually recording like a video of Echo Park. I grew up around here as well, and I used to play basketball over there. I had friends. I actually almost drowned here too. So yeah, so they.
Everyone has a story.
Yeah, it's. I was like 10 years old.
when I was a kid, I remember being taken to the Bob Baker Marionette Theater.
Yes,
That was
yes.
great.
They just closed that like
I know,
recently, unfortunately.
like, yeah.
That was a beautiful place. But if you don't mind me asking, and only if it's okay with you, I just would like to ask you guys questions, and no judgment, just what you think from your perspectives. My first question would be if you guys are okay with it. My name's Conrad Layn. What's your name?
Darcy.
Darcy, pleasure. 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 What's your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
Just call me Kay.
Kay. Pleasure to meet you, Kay. And your name?
Bro.
Pleasure to meet you. My name's Connor, and I'm here. So, question: what do you think would help? Loaded question. There could be different perspectives, and it's not about judging each other, because we all might have different perspectives. What do you think is the way we can actually fix this? You said something about on national level. What do you guys think would fix this situation? And is there a way to fix this situation of homeless encampment and poverty? Even if you think it's Skid Row, that's another area that has really been behind and hasn't really got the proper help. What can we do?
Well, there's so many layers to it, right? Because it's not just the people who are here themselves, right? For whatever reason that may be, right? Whether it's lack of access to, certain resources, or they can't afford to live somewhere, right? Because it's expensive in LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also on the part of the state too, because they have provided them with housing, but only a small number of them. And is the housing permanent? No, right? It's not permanent.
And it always comes with a lot of restrictions.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of problems, but I think at the basis of it is that it's harder and harder for people to live in LA, especially if they don't earn a lot of money, right? If you don't have a lot of money, if you don't have a decent job, right, you can't afford to live in it. I mean, I don't even know how much the rooms are over here now, much less where I live, and even like she said, right?
Well, it's like
on a
it was
national scale,
2,200.
all the big cities are just completely unaffordable. And so people wonder, why is homeless so bad in LA? It's like, because people are displaced, they have nowhere to go. You either have the option to move out to fucking Bakersfield or some city outside of where the city is, right? Or
Like Palmdale, like up here.
Or what these people have done, right, is that I don't want to go out there. I want to stay here. I want to stay in Echo Park, or I want to stay in this place because I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for them, but I'm assuming, right, they want to be here because there's a community, there's people who understand, their situation, right?
Resources that
Resources.
they know of.
So it's just so many layers, and I feel like the state itself has been very negligent in, providing. I mean, they won't even provide a rent freeze. They won't even provide a rent moratorium. That's gonna run out, and the renters are gonna have to pay all that back. Like, how can you expect people to pay back rent if they could barely even afford to pay the regular rent to begin with? There's like all these things that kind of culminate, and it is what you see in LA, in major cities, because people get displaced. That's the root reason. People are getting sick because they can't afford it. There's no resources. I mean, even when you think about healthcare or access to mental health, all that is tied to having a job or having some sort of income, right? That is low cost for us, but is that available to everybody? Does everybody know that? The resources are so thin that are affordable. It's just like, it shouldn't be a mystery why this is happening if there's no resources to begin with. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
No, please, not any sense you have. I'll take all 99 cents. It's all good. No, that's definitely a good perspective, and I understand what you're saying, and especially with people with mental problems, a lot of it comes down to even people who serve in the army. A lot of them are downtown, and it just, man, this is it's very complicated, because there's so many different opposing factors. You said something about restrictions, though, when she was actually what do you mean by that, about the homes and restrictions?
Because they're going to live in places that are provided for them, and then there are restrictions to how they live there, right? And there are folks that need to do all kinds of things. I don't crack down on people who do drugs. It's like they need to do, because there aren't resources, they need something now, right? Or the fact that most of us live communally, and if they say you can't come live here, or you could live here, but we can't allow your family, it goes against the way that people live. There's so many restrictions that we don't know of. We think, there's just a home. No, there's a lot of restrictions placed on folks, and a lot of people, I feel like the majority that I know have a hard time living in these places because they tend to live communally, and they're not allowed to bring families in,
so they're kind of isolated there.
Yeah, like we live communally. We still value and honor our elders, and our elders take care of the kids, and we live in very communal life. And that's a big thing that's held against elders as well, right? Where like, you can live here, but we can't
see your grandkids
have anyone else come in here. So you think about things like that, and so they're not just getting a place, They're essentially, it ends up being like, other form of correctional facility, jail, if you will.
Understand?
So those, that's something that we want to keep in mind. Want to bring in the fact that, everyone wants to praise Biden right now, and the Democrats, they had the opportunity to push a minimum minimum wage $15. That shit, $15 doesn't mean shit in LA. I was getting paid double and still had a year of living basically houseless, because I wasn't living in a proper house. Because at my age, you're still redlined. There's always some kind of restrictions where every place I went to show how much I was getting paid, they're like, well, you don't have any credit. I couldn't get a fucking place because I didn't have credit. So you think about all the restrictions that
See,
are
that's
placed
kind
on
of,
people.
even having credit, you think it's another way, from your perspective, in your opinion, you think that's another way of discriminating against people, you think?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
I didn't have that credit. I had no credit. I was a kid coming out of my mom's home. I'm making good money. I'm like, I could get myself my own place. But they're like, you don't have any credit. Luckily, I had the sense. I had the luck of finding someone with common sense and saying, well, I just want to see how much you make. And she gave me a place in K-Town. It took me a year. And she wasn't from the U.S. She was from UK.
That's awesome.
She was like, you're making money. Yes, here's a home.
Awesome.
Like Kay said, they're not putting a moratorium on mortgage.
Mhm.
They're not freezing rent. They're giving us crumbs. And what do we do with that money? We give it back to the landlords. Right? So we're not really, like, we're not getting ahead. There's very few that, like, are able to still prosper during this time. Most people are getting pushed out. And they have been pushed out of LA.
That's beautiful what you just told me. And I'm just playing everything you told me, what you told me, and what she told me, and what other people I talked to today told me. There's so many. This is a big puzzle, and there's so many different perspectives. Like, for example, I empathize with actually all the prisoners. It's humans. We're humans, but even what you just said, like about giving it back to the landlord, their pain is that they're like, man, like, my property's not being paid for, but then what about the people who don't even have a property? So they all have problems. Man, how do we, man? Okay. No, it's hard because I actually talked to some homeowners and they were like, man, you know, they haven't paid me rent. I have a mortgage with the bank and I'm trying to lose my house. And I'm like, that's another perspective. I'm like, that's true. We don't hear. But then what about the person I talked to today who doesn't even have a home? He's living at the park, nice guy. He's like, I don't have anything. I don't know where I'm going to go. They're both suffering though. It's just.
And you're making the connections, right? That all of this, we all have
pain.
We all are oppressed in one way or another under the same conditions. Of course, it hits people harder when they already don't have the resources, when they don't have a home, right? But it's definitely going to hit people who do have them because we're all, most of us, a paycheck away from being homeless. That's the reality. That is absolutely the reality of living in LA, but in many big cities.
Right.
Yeah.
And if someone said, like, almost no one has permanent housing, what does that even mean? Or
True.
A permanent job. Yeah. Who has that in America these days?
I have a home, and I still, because I've already lived conditions of being houseless, luckily I was able to live that year as a working person making way above minimum wage at the time. I lived in one of those camper motorhome things that someone was able to provide me because they knew, they're like, all right, you're gonna have to do X, Y, and Z. We'll let you do this. But I still have the mentality, even though I have a home right now, that I'm houseless because I could be pushed out anytime. Anytime.
Understand.
Like, it's unbelievable how incredibly vulnerable we are to being the next ones out here. Right? And people don't get that most people that are homeless are working. You see all the comments online, they need to find a job, people are going to unemployment instead of going to apply. That's not the reality. For most people are working. There's no way to survive out here without having some sort of, hustle. And the other thing is that most people have more than one hustle. They're tired. Like think about those stories that came out that like women had their kids taken away because they have no one to take care of their kids. There was just not too long ago, like someone was applying for a job. Their kids were at another table at a mall, and she got her kids taken away.
Right there. Wow.
Right there. She's watching them, and she's in a job interview here, and the kids are over there. So all of that you have to take into consideration. How racism comes into play, how sexism comes to play. We live in a capitalist system, and that has a lot of consequences, right? In regards to how it hits people in a different way, and we tend to internalize it as an individual problem when this is a collective problem. So this needs, you ask, what do we need to do? We need to collectively respond. One of the things that I would say about, like...
You know what? I'm going to just excuse myself. I have to go move my car in 1 minute.
If you can, try to get an officer's car and put it on your dashboard just in case. And then, as I talked to park enforcement, that's a way where if they take a picture of it, you get a ticket, you use that as proof, look, public unrest. And most of them have common sense will see the cop car there and they won't give you a ticket.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice talking to you guys.
You too. Bye.
And think about what, are the resources to people. You see a lot of black and brown cops these days, right? You see, even the white poor working folks that are here in cops, a lot of people don't know that the resources that people had, or the only thing that people had, out here in Echo Park was you either going to being a gang member or you fucking become one of those gang members, because that's a fucking gang
and there
member.
used to be
LAPD is a gang, and that's all these young men out here. They're all old and grown here, right? That's all they had. People don't know that. People don't talk about that.
I mean, it's the same thing as Army recruiters coming into our schools and low-income neighborhoods, basically saying, I'm 23, I have, you know, a house and all this stuff. What are you doing with your life, right? It's like this false promise of get out of the hood type of shit, right? Like, and I feel yeah, it's the same thing with cops, right? It's like they target low-income communities because it's basically like you're either going to be this or you're going to be that, you know? And it also speaks to the limited resources, right, that we have, right? And like you said, there's all these things that overlap: racism, sexism. I mean, even thinking about women in the pandemic, right? Like people who are in abusive relationships, right? If that was already hard to leave, I can only imagine now. And where else are you gonna go? I mean, I don't know what the story is here, right? But I'm assuming somewhere in LA and somewhere in the States, right? People have probably left really terrible relationships and either stayed in the streets or they stayed somewhere else or whatever, because there's no resources, there's no community, there's no way to connect with people. That was already there before, but now it's just even worse. I mean, I think the statistics too around homeless women is like they're sexually assaulted, constantly. They have no access to like feminine products, right? Like there's a lot of things, right, that basic necessities that are not afforded to people, right? And I mean, that's the other thing too. People want to say like these nasty things about homeless people, dirty or whatever, but it's like we literally have nowhere else to go. Who is going to provide them with the necessities, right? Who? The city obviously doesn't want to do it. They could put up little hand washing stations or whatever, right? But it's a band-aid to a gaping wound, right? It needs to be fixed.
They need to find a way to maybe rehabilitate them.
Yeah, there was, like he was saying, right? Like it's very community. Like when I see people with who have tents up, there's not just one. It's always people there, because I'm assuming that they're supporting each other, right? Or they're there for each other because they understand each other's like situations. And so like this is what happens, like taking individuals out, right, to house them is an immediate fix, but what about everyone else, right? Like how are we really gonna solve this increasingly wide income gap? Because it's gonna get worse. It really is. Like it keeps getting more expensive and more housing is being built, but is it affordable? No. They're all fucking like high rises and like bougie ass minimalist fucking apartments, right? That's not affordable. I mean, even where I live, luckily I have some form of rent control, but the apartments there are like, 2-bedroom is almost $3,000 for 1 month. That's ridiculous. Who could afford that? Unless you have a really good job, who could afford that?
Yeah, a lot of apartments even around this area, like you said, and for even the studio, $1,800 to $2,000 for just a room that doesn't even have another room, and just like it's true. And then minimum wage definitely does not cover that at all. That takes your check and then some, So I mean,
I'm saying in regards to that, the police, we've seen, throughout the year how the state is readily able to bring on war-like conditions to the streets, to our neighborhoods, but not what we actually need. The state brings out these folks to respond. They don't bring out more social workers to find what people need, housing, right? They don't bring out more medicine. So that's a big ass problem when you take the whole picture into consideration. If your country is ready and prepared to bring out war, then your actual resources, what do we live in?
So
we really have to question, what kind of state are we living in right now?
So you think it's kind of like when they come out more not with like, do you think it would help maybe having maybe like a counselor or maybe someone with maybe a cop at the same time, maybe something like that? Or what do you?
No cops.
No cops.
We don't need, I mean, we all have seen how they respond. There's zero trust with the police. Why would you send out police? There's zero trust. We need to see people. And the fact is, exactly what Kate said, people help each other out here because they know what they need, right? So those folks don't know because they're not part of the community. And even if they do know, because oftentimes you will actually see folks who patrol the area address folks out here by their names, but they're not. They don't have orders to help. And that's what we need to see, is that they don't have orders to help, to serve and protect. Who? Not the folks out here.
You know, it's funny you say that, and it's kind of like what you said, like when, if you notice, like all the like 10 centimeters, it's like a community. And that's what actually, like, if you look at the news, it says encampment. So I've been using both words, and some people say encampment, and some people actually consider it village. You know, there's a different, it depends, you know, what you say, it depends. Like I said, I don't want to pick sides. I just want to give a fair perspective, but the truth is that a lot of people here don't call this encampment. The people that live here actually call it a village or community. They don't call it encampment. It just, I want to say thank you. Like, you guys have also shared some good insights, and I'm definitely going to share this. And you guys are strong, and this is the future. Like, women are strong, they're beautiful, they have a lot of great opinions, and we're all human at the end of the day. And these are two caring women that want the best for society. There's a lot going on out here, and I just want to say thank you so much, ladies, and please stay the same. You guys are strong, you guys are fighters, seriously. And seriously, thank you. And the air shake, I don't know if bye ladies. Bye. So this is what it's about. It's really good perspectives, a lot of interesting perspectives. Just wanted to let you guys know, see a day in the life. Going back to my car. Going back to the secret path. And there's a lot of homes here as well. Anyone knows this path is definitely a local. This is actually a secret that most people don't know about unless you grew up here. So, all that. Those are the tents right there. That's where some people that I've spoke with, they call it village or the community, and some people call it encampment. So I want to do my best to respect both opinions. I'm not picking a side, just want to share perspective. I really did grow up here, and I'm just revisiting, and that's why I say I actually want to do my best to help people make money, earn income, and I want to find a way to teach people, rehabilitate them. I'm only one person, but hopefully when I help one person, hopefully it helps many people. And this isn't meant to be a show-off video or arrogant, but I am making money in business and Turo. And I want to teach people how to make money as well, so that even people maybe at the encampment or village or community may help them learn how to make money. I'm gonna try to find a way to do that, so I can maybe teach people how to make money so that they don't have to be on the street and they can make money to afford to live in what some people say is an expensive city here in Los Angeles, because this area itself, rent for the studio, easy, $1,700 to $1,800. A lot of people can't afford that. That's a lot for just a studio. One bedroom, $2,000 to $2,100. Sometimes $3,000. In this area right here, Echo Park, these are condos right here. There's a lot of homes, commercial property and residential property. And there's a lot of assets you can purchase here. So it's just one of those things where there's a lot you can purchase, and it's one of those things. So a lot of real estate here, and that's actually my other business. I'm actually licensed as a real estate agent, and that's what it's about. So till next, I'm going back to my car.